What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions podcast, where I am joined by Adam Rivera. And you guys are about to learn about a story about overcoming, about triumph, and about how a man is still developing himself. And I am super excited to talk to Adam. But first of all, Adam, how are you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing amazing. I haven't felt this good in a very long time. So you caught me on a very good day.
Hey, that's awesome, man. September, kids are back in school, so I got the house to myself. I can talk openly, not worrying about them interrupting me. So I'm really looking forward to going in depth and learning more about your story, which is where I want to start off with that inciting incident into your story. What was it? What was it like? Tell me about how that moment and how your life really started.
Like how my life started or the moment of the accident.
Moment of the accident, I guess, like kind of that phoenix rising from the accident situation.
So I woke up early in the morning, went to a chiropractor, and I remember getting on my scooter and I was heading to work. And I remember blinking and then waking up immediately, and the room is pitch black. Well, it's dark, the sun's coming in through the blinds, and I have two people hovering over me. One is my mom and one is the doctor. And the before I can move, they looked over me and they said, "Do you know where you are?" And I said, "I look like I'm in a hospital." They said 3 days ago you were in a tragic accident. They said try not to move because it was really bad. And I was more of confused. I thought I was dreaming, honestly. So I'm just looking around as much as I could. And I saw that my arm was wrapped up, my leg was wrapped up, and I had a neck brace on, and I was just in excruciating pain. The doctor said, "Do not move, but we are going to give you the details of your story." They said that you broke your leg, you broke your elbow, you fractured your ribs, you fractured the left side of your face, you broke your neck, you broke your lower back, you had collapsed lung, and you needed 4 blood transfusions. And
Yeah.
said, "Do you remember anything?" And I said, "Thankfully, no, I don't remember anything." They said, "So you don't know what happened?" And I said, "No." They said you were in a. It wasn't a motorcycle; it was a scooter.
Yeah.
But I say motorcycle because people like to think that you're on the ones that you're standing on. But I was on my way, and a work van. He said that he didn't see me, and he was doing a U-turn. So when he did their U-turn, I
Oh,
went straight into the side of the vehicle, and I had no road rash. I didn't have any scrapes, no anything, because when I hit it, it was like hitting a brick wall, and I just slammed into it and broke everything in my body and just landed onto the ground. The doctor's report said that I was extremely combative, which I don't know how I could have been combative with all of my main bones snapped, but they said I was combative, but luckily I don't remember any of that. Yeah, so it took me maybe 3 or 4 hours for me to realize, like, damn, this is real. But I will say not one time was I scared. I wasn't
interesting.
scared. I wasn't nervous. The only thing I was thinking about is, all right, cool. When do I go back into work? That was literally the only that was my process. How is my dog doing? Because it's been 3 days, and does work know that I can't come in today? And that
Wow,
was
dude.
literally it.
That's it's very forward manly thinking, because it's kind of like sometimes I'm the same way where you're just like, well, you just think in a linear kind of way where you're like, oh, okay, these are the things that I've been missing out. But outside
Mhm.
of that, man, when it did set in and you kind of got over those two initial thoughts, what do you think of next? Like, how am I going to overcome this? Or did that even cross your mind at that point?
Um, no. So I will say that the first 3 months, I was actually in complete bliss, like utter pain, utter excruciating pain. Like I would never. I'm cringing just thinking about it. Excruciating pain, but my internal happiness was just beyond. Like I to know that I could have died in that accident, and then to see that I'm here in excruciating pain, it took for me to change my perspective. So picture going into your bank account right now and seeing you have 6 zeros behind what you already currently have.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like for 3 months. That's what it felt like, just to wake up and breathe. Like it was just like, oh my God, I won the lottery again. Now I have the opportunity to stand up.
Wow.
And so yeah, for 3 months I was in complete bliss. I was always positive. The doctors would come and see me, the nurses would make sure they came to see me, and I was always putting smiles on people's faces. um and they saw my hard work ethic of just trying to just do stuff. I'll give you a little bit of my history, my life history in a minute, but my life history told me you can't stop. You
Yeah.
don't allow anything to tell you what you can and cannot do. And within a week, I was out of the hospital. Complete week, I was out of the hospital. The doctors told me that they don't see me getting out of a wheel. No, they prepared me to not be able to ever get out of a wheelchair. And if I did get out of a wheelchair, I will always have to have assistance, whether it's a cane, crutches, somebody holding me, and I'll never be able to compete or run again.
Yeah, forget that noise, but
Uh,
geez, man, but that's the kind of the one that pisses me off with doctors sometimes is that they overstep in what the human ability, right? Because you came in with a different mindset, right? It's almost like your perspective, you were already thankful, but you were already looking to how do I better myself in the situation, right?
mhm.
And you
Well,
mentioned, or go ahead.
it wasn't really how can I better myself from the situation, because in my eyes is I didn't have a choice. So I didn't have the how. I had the dang. Well, walking over there is just going to suck. It wasn't how I was going to do it. It wasn't going to how long it was going to take. It was just I have to go there, so do it. And so that's what it was. But I will say I'm not going to knock the doctors at all. Of course, as we all know, in 2022, it's cancel. It's cancel. What is it? Cancel culture.
Cancel culture, yeah,
So you go into Publix and you see a wet floor, and what do people do? They want to slip so they can get sued and all other
yeah.
stuff. So what happens is the doctors, they give you the worst scenario to
Hmm.
protect themselves, because if they say, all right, cool, well, in 7 months, you should be able to do this, but then that person's not doing the effort into getting up, and now it's 8 months and they still can't even get out of a wheelchair. Now they're going to blame the doctor.
Yeah, that
The
makes sense. That
so
makes sense.
so it is unfortunate that they do that, because a
Yeah.
lot of people, they create their disabilities. They they
Mm.
they go off of what the doctors say, just like when you go into Google and, oh, I have cancer. No, you just you cut an ivy or something. And so people will create these and turn it into fact, and then they won't become anything else.
Hmm.
But that also is still a great tool for people like me, because you have to be resilient. You have to be relentless. You have to get up. So when somebody tells you, hey, you can't do this, that's somebody's fuel. And that was mine.
Yeah.
When they
Yeah.
told me I can't, I said, all right, cool. I remember something my father told me. He says, there's two people in this world, one person that says I can, one person that says I can't. Both of them are right.
And
So
that's the
take
truth.
can't out of your vocabulary.
No, you're 100% right about that. But that's the thing too, where I'm like, because I've looked into the placebo effect, right? And you are what you believe in all these different things. And that's kind of why I'm like, yo, I really don't think that we should initially start off with such negativity, right? Because you're strong. However, somebody that's maybe set in a different or sees the world from a different perspective, you tell them this, and they're going to be like, well, I guess I'm bedridden for life. I'm going to start getting those disability checks and I'm just going to chill.
And what's really crazy is, me personally, I think that that's a necessity. I think that people need to have the doubts. I think people need to have that, because if you don't have those, you don't ever find out what you're actually capable of doing.
Yes.
So because anybody could look at certain coaches. Certain coaches can sit here and be like, no, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And some people are like, all right, cool. But then you take that same energy to this person, you need to do this, and like, oh, you know what? I'm tired of being yelled at, so I'm gonna quit.
Exactly.
know?
Exactly.
So it just depends on the person and that's why I think that we need these barriers in life, because just like when you go to the gym, and you're working out, after a while you need to add an extra 5 pounds. Why? Because struggle makes strength. A lot of
Exactly.
people, they're comfortable with being comfortable, so now they're going to get the disability check and they're going to do this.
Yeah.
They wanted everything to be easy. Well, if you wanted everything to be easy, don't get mad when the person who broke his entire body is now doing triathlons and you can't even get up because you're in your ankle.
Exactly. It's inspiring, but at the same time, it forces people to look at themselves with a critical eye. Because it's like, I have no excuses. If this person's doing it from what they came through, and all the disabilities and all the things that was in their path, and they overcame these obstacles, and now they're doing the thing. And I'm just sitting here, sitting on my couch, being like, well, I can't do it because I broke my foot 5 years ago, or I hurt my knee, or I did this. And it's kind of like it always goes back to that story where people are just like, I'm gonna tell myself this story. It's more comfortable, and I'm just gonna like lie here and just enjoy my life, and I'm not going to accomplish anything. And then I'm going to be depressed at the end of the day, take drugs. And it's just, it's a
Yep.
chain of events that I don't want to see anybody kind of go through.
Mhm.
But
And
the,
it's, huh?
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and it's just it's sad, unfortunately, because you see how some people are living and they don't even know that they're miserable. You
No.
don't know that you don't know how bad you feel until you start to feel good. The thing is a lot of people, they've never been pushed, they've never had resistance, they never had to fight for something and then get that feeling of wow. These days a lot of people are spoiled. Everybody wants that instant gratification. Here, give me, 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 which is fine. But when you're constantly given something, you don't appreciate it. But when you had to put in
Exactly.
work to get there, that's priceless, and it feels so much better to be able, like, yeah, I may not be able to afford much, but if I go to work and I'm able to get this paycheck, go even if for McDonald's, but to bring it back home, knowing that I earned this for my family, it feels better than just going to get McDonald's.
A hundred
So
percent. You got to earn it in order to actually enjoy it sometimes. In my opinion, sometimes, it's always nice to receive good things. I'm not going to lie. Gifts are awesome. But when you go out and you know that you get it, you worked your ass off, and then you're like, hey, you know what? I went and did it. You put the effort in and you got the prize. And that feels spectacular. But the one thing that you mentioned earlier is that before the accident, you already kind of had developed this mindset. Where did that come from?
struggle. So my entire life, my mother was a single mom, and she raised two crazy, adventurous twins. I have a twin brother.
Twins.
Uh,
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and it's funny too because he has the same mindset as me. He was actually in a motorcycle accident. He still has the visor where the tire tread went over his helmet.
Oh, my God.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. And honestly, that's probably one of the reasons why I was able to overcome this. His was nowhere nearly as bad, but watching him go through it and telling the doctors, the doctors told him he will never be able to hold up his arm higher than this, and he started doing 1 arm pull-ups like a year later. Okay, cool. But no, so we've always been in sports. My mom, she's a PE coach. She's currently at that school now as a PE coach, and she always had us in sports. Always. We used to hate our mom because you're like, yo, can we please just have some kind of time to be with our friends? And you don't really understand it until you get older. But I did track, I did football, I did basketball, I did soccer, I did baseball, and then I started doing speed skating. And I started doing
What?
speed skating, and my brother actually became a national speed skating champion. I think when we were 15, 16 years old.
Get
Yeah, so
out of here. No
that dealt
way.
with it. Yeah, so I was always forced to push my body to the limits. There was never no, okay, cool, I'm tired. Okay, we'll go sit down. No, you're tired. No, there's no reason to be tired. And I always had that my entire life.
Yeah.
And then once I became an adult, I was prior military, so I've been in Iraq and Afghanistan. So of course, there's no easy way in the military. So it just all that did is just reinforce everything I learned as a child. And then when I got out of the military, I was a private investigator. I private investigated protection work. I did armed security at government contracting facilities. My most recent job was I was a tower climber on top of the radio towers. I was always pushing myself. Um, and yeah, so that's all I did was work, 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 work. The moment I stopped doing a sport, I jumped into another sport. Whenever I quit a job, I jumped into another job. So when I got hurt and they said, all right, cool, you need to stop. I'm like, I don't know how to stop.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh,
there is no stop. It's almost like there is no chill. But that's interesting because I always say this and I tell my kids that too. I'm like, I don't really care what you do, just see it all the way through and put your energy into it, right? But
yeah.
the one thing, what that I really admire about your mom is like, she didn't give you downtime. She didn't give you any
At all.
downtime, like it's
At
just
all.
on to the next, on to the next. And I kind of feel like if you develop that at a young age, the carryover into adulthood is totally different than people that, are happy playing video games and chilling on the couch, right?
Exactly. And it's really funny too because my mom being like that is actually what got me into doing triathlons. So when I quit speed skating, she's like, you're quitting speed skating? And it was like on a Tuesday or something like that. And I said, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. And she said, are you sure? I said, yeah. And she's like, all right, cool. And we went straight to Sports Authority. We went to Sports Authority. She got me this yellow t-shirt. I'll never forget it. This yellow t-shirt. She got me some spandex, and that was it. She never told me why I needed or whatever. And then Saturday morning, she woke me up extremely early. She told me to load up my bike, get all of my sports gear, put it in the trunk, and just drive. We drove for about maybe an hour, hour and a half. We get to this place and it's swarming with people. And it's early in the morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I remember, I had to get these numbers, scratched onto me with the marker and then whatnot. And I had to get a number to put on my bike. And I had to put my bike into this area, this transition area. I had no idea what that even meant. And you see all the kids lining up, and I'm right up front, not even knowing what a triathlon is. So they shoot the gun, and I just run. And when I go, now you have people saying, okay, no, you need to run over this way. So I run that way, and then I come back. All right, cool, get on your bike. So I get on my bike. All right. And then they tell me which way to go. And you had people telling which turn to do. And I came back and got into the pool. And when I got to the pool, I said, now what's next? And they said, you finished. And I finished in first place.
What?
When I finished in first place, and that was in 5th grade, I think it was. And I fell madly in love with it to the point where I have never gotten off my bike since. I had been doing triathlons from 5th grade all the way to my last one was in 2012. Yeah, 2012. And then I've just been cycling since.
Wow, dude. Tell me, one thing I've always been kind of curious about anybody that does triathlons or like these hardcore endurance events. What is it mentally? Like, what do you feel mentally in those moments? Like after you're an hour, 2 hours in, like just explain what's going through your mind at that point or what's not going through your mind.
Honestly, I think there's 2 things that's in my mind. One is I'm just constantly just reminding myself who I am. Adam, you got this. Adam, you got this. Just one step at a time. You feel it, it hurts, but just know about the feelings you're going to get as soon as you're done, and that's one thing. The other one though is I don't think about anything. Sometimes when I'm in that zone and all my first triathlon, I had no clue what I was doing, but because I'm so focused on, all right, cool, where do I go next? Where do I go next? I'm not even looking at my pace, and I came in first place. So this is how it truly starts. When I first start, I'm extremely nervous. I don't care how many triathlons I've done in my life, how many competitions I've done or whatever. I'm always extremely nervous at the very beginning until the gun hits. When I take that first step, that nervousness turns into a rush, like you get excited and you jump into that water. And once you get the shock of that water, now your blood's pumping and you just go.
Yeah.
And then I'll say that the hardest part for me was always the run, because the run's the last one, and the shortest run I've ever done was a 5K in a triathlon. So you're doing 3.1 miles at the very end of a 400-meter swim and a 12 to 14 mile bike ride.
Jeez.
But yeah, so I just talk to myself. I don't put on music. Well, I haven't put on music before, but I don't put on music, and I just look at my next target. I'm a hunter, and I just look at the next target. I look at their span, their pace when they're going, and I just see if I can match it. And if I can match it, okay, cool. Can I put a little bit more in, and I'll pass them. And once I pass them, find another target and just go.
Interesting. Now, the reason why I kind of asked that, because A, I'm curious, and then B, the other thing that I want to know is, were you able to take that same frame of mind into your recovery process, right? Because you mentioned how you hit different targets. So what was the first target that you said to yourself, okay, you know what? I'm going to do X?
Honestly, I think that was me being in the zone, and I just didn't think. So a lot of people are like, yo, how did you get to where you are like so far currently? And the only thing I said is I literally just looked at the next step, period. I didn't look at, okay, I need to do this by this time. I need to do this by this time. No, what I did is I just took an extra step. And once I was able to make that extra step, then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that didn't hurt as bad as I thought it would have been. All right, cool. Then take another step, and then take another step. And all right, cool. And before you know it, now I'm just like, all right, well, maybe I could just put the crutches on this side and just take a step. And if I fall, I can lean up on the wall or whatever. And 7 weeks after my accident, I was walking. Like I was still using the walker, but I
Yeah.
was capable if I needed to walk without anything. And that was 7 weeks. A month after my accident is actually when they found out that my second leg was snapped. My
What?
good leg. Walking on it for an entire month. I was walking on it for an entire month. And so you have two bones in your leg. You have a skinnier one. I don't know. I think it's the tibia.
Tibia
You
and
have that.
fibula, yeah.
Yes, that's the one that snapped.
God
And I was
damn.
walking on it for an entire month. I was actually going to do a checkup on this leg. And my mom's like, yo, he's been complaining about his leg every single day since the accident. He's broken almost every bone in his body. Can y'all please just give him an x-ray? And they gave me an x-ray and they walked in all calm. Yeah, it's broken. And they showed me that x-ray. It was literally like splintered. So every time I was walking, it was just going into each other like
Oh
this.
God.
Oh, it was horrible. So I'm full of titanium.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're unbreakable now, which is a good thing.
Yeah, but I will say that it hurts more though. It'll hurt. Like if I was like it hurts more just because it's there,
I got you.
but
Yeah,
it's more durable. You know.
I
Do
got you.
you know
Yeah.
the specifics of what
No,
they had to
no.
put together?
Break that down, man, because I do want to know about that. I read a little bit in your profile, but I'm like, hey man, give me the lowdown on how it feels, that whole
Ooh.
process.
So my left leg from my knee to my ankle is all titanium. They had to go through the top of my knee and they had a titanium rod and they had to put it through the middle of my bone in my leg. And they had to pull the other bone together and then put it through that bone. And then they had to screw it on my ankle and on my kneecap through the bone into the titanium so that it can hold together and stay together. So now I have the entire bone is all titanium. On my right leg, where the tibia was broken, they put it together and they put a metal titanium plate over it. So it's like about 6 inches long titanium plate that's screwed into my bone. And then my elbow from about the middle of my forearm all the way down to a little bit past my elbow is all titanium and it's a metal, it's a hinge in there, like a titanium hinge for me to be able to do it. So I can't really open my arm and lift it up.
Completely.
It
Oh
stops.
wow.
And then when I had to get my neck surgery, they had to go in through the middle. They did a small incision right here and they had to pull everything to the side. And I don't know what exactly they did, but it was it's some type of fusion. And then once they did the fusions, they had to get a titanium plate again and then put it over 3 discs. So all of that is titanium as well. And that's it, I think. Yeah.
So yeah, so I became a cyborg after it was all said and done. Now here I am.
Basically. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I will
crazy,
say that
man.
it's easy to go through. Yeah, I still have yet to get dinged at a metal detector.
Detector,
The only
yeah.
time I got dinged is because of my zipper on my pants.
No
So
way. So it doesn't even really the titanium is just kind of like, oh, okay, that recognize it, I guess, or
I'm assuming. So I have no idea how it didn't work.
yeah, I know,
So
because I figured you'd be dinging like crazy, like ding, 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 ding. It's like, all right, sir, you gotta go again.
yeah, they have to do something. Check me up butt naked in here. Like, why?
Yeah.
Where's yeah, it's inside of me. I'm Wolverine.
Yeah. He's hiding something somewhere, man.
Yep,
Jeez.
yep.
How long did each surgery take? And what was that process like too, man? Did he take what's it called? I was talking to a guy who was talking about HGH and stuff and how you can take different supplements to kind of help the body heal. Did he take anything too, or is just kind of do the surgery and just relax?
Um, I took a few things like supplements. One of my homegirls, she gave me something that is for your bones and your skin and stuff like that, and it helps build it. But other than that, I honestly think that how I healed was just by doing stuff. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of times, I told the doctor straight up, I said, how do you expect me to get the strength to get out of bed if I never get out of bed? All they wanted to do is say, yo, rest. Adam, you're doing too much. Adam, doing too much. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt yourself. And I'm like, yeah, but just like when you go to the gym, when you're on your ninth set, it does hurt, but you need to go through that pain to get stronger. And I said,
Exactly.
so I'll be aware. Let me do these things. It's going to hurt because it's broken bones. But
Exactly.
how are they supposed to heal if they're not doing anything?
Yeah. Well, it's actually one of the first things I learned as a personal trainer. We actually it's called Wolff's Law, and it's about the adaptation of your actual bones, right? Because they found that in certain people that had messed up bones, if your body recognized that there was some type of abnormality, it would actually adapt for it, and it would
Hmm.
actually start to elongate the other bone to make sure it was balanced or whatever. And the guy who discovered it, I think his name was Dr. Wolf or whatever, but he basically found that the more stress that you put on the body, the more your body will adapt to it, right? And it's not just bones; it's pretty much everything. So what you're saying makes perfect sense. And to me, it's almost like you're right. If you just laid in bed, did nothing, you're going to start to atrophy completely, man. Like muscles, bones, everything. You're just going to lie there, which is kind
Yep.
of counterintuitive, but you already knew that, which is interesting.
Hmm. And then, also think about it this way. If I was not doing anything and yeah, my bones are together, but if there was never any kind of push or pull on it, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna heal like that, but it's gonna be brittle. It's gonna be loose. It's just
Yeah.
gonna be okay, cool. While it's healing and it's going through, it's all right, cool. It needs to be a little bit stronger. It needs to be a little bit stronger. And hell, we're in September right now.
Yeah.
Next month will be a full year. That's it. A year since my accident.
And you're already out here walking, talking, and just
I
completely good to go.
on October 20th, I think it is. I actually have my first triathlon.
Damn.
So a month after my 1 year, I'm gonna be competing in a triathlon just because the doctors specifically told me that they could never see me getting out of a wheelchair and I'm never gonna run again. Cool. 1 year later, that I'm competing in triathlons.
No way, man. Hey, I love to see that. I'm following you on Instagram now, so I'll make
Okay,
sure I see
perfect.
you on that day. Make sure we
I
do a
can't
media
wait.
blast or something. Yeah. No, I'm
Uh,
psyched for you, man. Where is it? It's gonna be in Florida as well,
It's
or
gonna be in Florida. It's gonna be on the far east coast near Cocoa Beach. It's called the Captain Hiram's River Challenge, and it's a one of those triathlons that you donate for a good cause, and they use the money to help clean up the rivers and all that other stuff. And
nice,
it's right
nice.
on the ocean. So I don't know why it's called the River Challenge. It might be a river right next to the ocean. I don't know, but
Clean up the ocean, but we'll call it the river chat. It sounds cooler.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing that. I was actually just got out the pool not too long ago because I got all my training gear, my wetsuits and everything else, and I wanted to just test it out so I can get some kind of training regimen going so I can be ready for the swim portion.
And training wise, how do you feel, man, with like all the titanium in your body? Do you feel heavier? Do you feel a little bit sluggish? Because I know it's like, yo, after the accident, and now, you're not weighed down or anything.
Honestly, I if I do feel it, I don't know that I feel it because now I'm so used to the feeling
I
and
imagine,
now it's
yeah.
just normal. A lot of people are like, yo, so does it hurt when you do this? Does it hurt when you do that? How about when it's cold? And I'm like, I don't know because I'm so used to the pain that
Yeah.
now I feel normal. I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm in pain. So unless something happens where I bump my shin into a corner of the table or something like that, it does. I don't even realize that I'm hurting because I've gotten comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Gotcha. You ever think about doing MMA with those elbows, man? You probably do some serious damage.
Yeah, I probably would, but I actually got hit by a car about 2 months ago.
Damn, man.
That car, I'm telling you, like, yo, just Adam, just stay inside.
Yeah.
I was actually training on my bike, and I was going north from my house, and I used to go just 10 miles up and then just turn around and do 10 miles back so I can automatically just get my 20 miles because I don't like to ride unless I'm going to do at least 20 miles. I will not
Yeah.
ride. And I was at the 10-mile mark and I was driving past the Home Depot and a guy drove past me. And the moment he drove past me, he hit his blinker and turned into the Home Depot and it didn't
Oh
give me
no.
time to stop. And he claimed he didn't see me, which I don't know how that can possibly be unless you're on your phone. But he said he didn't
Yeah.
hit me. I landed on my elbow and it blew up like a balloon.
Ah.
And ever since then, I honestly think I probably broke something in here because there's some jagged pieces in there. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm getting a X-ray tomorrow to see how that's going to be. So we'll see.
Interesting, man. But yeah, I guess you do got to be careful because I mean, you do have something foreign in your body, right?
Yeah,
So it's
and it's
probably
and it's broken. It's connected to broken bones.
yeah,
So yeah, I can
pretty
see if the
much
whole
holding it
arm was
together.
titanium, then it's one thing. But no, it's connected to other stuff.
Nah, it's pretty interesting, man. But hey, be careful when you're riding out there. I was gonna ask you about your workout regimen. What does that look like?
So I don't really have a workout regimen. which I want to. I don't know if I have traumatic brain injuries from my accident. I'm supposed to be getting an appointment to check later, just because I'm having a really hard time scheduling a lot of things.
Hmm.
One being my training regimen, one trying to build my brand so I can, because my goal is to be a transformational coach and help
Yeah.
people with my story. I want to
Yeah.
help people show, I don't if it's therapy, if it's juvenile detention centers, I want to reach out to the kids and let them know that there's more to life. There's a lot of things. I forgot what I was talking about. I got lost.
About how you
Oh, my
developed
training
into stuff.
regimen. So,
Yeah.
so what I typically do is I just tell myself, Adam, the minimum you're going to do is 21 miles. That is it. Do not do anything more than 21 miles. Just do it. Do it as fast as you can, as comfortable as you can. And once I get to the 21-mile mark, if I'm still feeling it, all right, cool, do another lap. And each lap is 7 miles. All right, do
Gotcha.
another lap. Before you know it, all right, you know what, do another lap, to the point where it'll start pouring down raining. And I'm like, ooh, all right, cool. Another challenge. Do another lap, just because it was a challenge, and I love overcoming
Yeah.
challenges. So I typically do that, and then now I'm just doing 2-mile runs now, just to get used to running, because I haven't been able to run since that then. And since I got my wetsuit and it's almost starting to get cool down, they know what's going to be in the pool. I bought a cord, swimming cord. I forgot what it's called, but you attach it to the rail on the pool, and you're able to just swim, and it's just holding you by your waist, and
Oh,
you're
got
just
like
swimming. So you
okay.
can swim forever without having to stop and then turn around and stop and turn around. So
Yeah, I
that's what
got
I'm
you.
going to be. You know,
Interesting. Yeah, it's almost like a resistance band underwater. That sounds pretty
that's
interesting.
all it is. Yeah, it's actually pretty dope, but it's not right next to me, so I can't show you.
No, but it's honestly something that I should probably look into too. Because I mean, I've been looking into like swimming and stuff, and I'm not the greatest swimmer, so I'm like, hey, I'll get into it eventually. But it's one of those things where I probably got to challenge myself because now I got to teach my kids. And then
Oh
now
yeah.
my kids, my oldest one, he's getting pretty good where he can swim decently by himself. And then my second one, he likes to venture off into the deep end. And I'm like, bro,
Mhm.
I don't want to go get you, and then I got to play lifeguard, swim back with
Oh
one
man,
hand. So
I completely understand. I completely understand. I was actually the certified lifeguard in my unit for the military, because I was stationed in Hawaii, so of course you had to do water exercises, but how can you do it if people can't swim? So what they do is they designate 2 to 3 people to go through the entire lifeguard class and get
yeah.
lifeguard certified, just so that now you can do training in the water. And I did it. And I will say, people sleep on lifeguards. Like that training, yeah, they basically sit there all day long not doing anything, bored. But to get that license, especially in Hawaii, it was probably one of the hardest classes I've ever done physically.
Interesting. Well, I could imagine, man, if you got to get like a 200-pound guy that's like flailing all over the place and be like, all right, calm down, brother. I got you.
Those are actually the easiest.
Really? So who's the
Yeah,
most difficult, kids or?
the bigger ones are well, because fat floats.
Yeah.
It's the muscular ones. It's the ones that are 160 pounds, 5%
Shredded.
body. They
Yeah.
they're bricks. So to try to pull them up from underwater,
I,
they said I was one of they said I was the hardest person to rescue, and I was only 170 pounds. But then
you
I'm
rip.
sitting here with a 260-pound dude just pulling him like it was nothing.
Or you just floating along.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another question I had for you too, because you mentioned how the accident you think might have affected you mentally. And you said it kind of affected scheduling and stuff. What else did you find when post accident that maybe mentally, you did feel affected or you feel like maybe something was a little bit off?
Okay, so this I don't think is actually a problem, but it is a problem. So my biggest thing is the depressions that I go through, because I'm completely and utterly alone now. I have a lot of support. I mean, the amount of I would not be here if it wasn't for my support. I have a ton of people that support me, a ton of people that constantly build me up and help me remember, how far I've come and whatever.
Mhm.
But it doesn't change the fact that I am utterly alone, because I can't get myself to be able to hang out with people. Every single time I try to hang out with people, they always ditch me. Every single time they ditch me. And I'm just like, yo, like it's been 3 weeks and 8 people ditched me in 3 weeks. I'm just like, well, what is going on? And then I started realizing it from the things that they were saying. The reasoning why I feel extremely alone is because this accident changed my perspective of life completely. These days, a lot of people, all they want to do is they just want to complain. You go on to social media and complain. You go on to social media, all you're doing is, oh, why is this person doing this? Why is this person doing this? Why is this person doing this? And then with me, I'm just like, why does it care? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, like you're complaining because you got 3 hours of overtime. Well, thank God you got a job.
Exactly.
I don't even have a job right now. Oh, you're complaining because you have a hangover that you actually put yourself into, and now you're at work pissed off at everybody else for something that you did. So it's really hard for me to get along with people because I'm not that same person where I can sit there and joke around about anymore because it's not a joke. You're like, no, you have the power, you're healthy, you have great legs, you're smart. Then if you hate your job, quit. Oh, but it's not that easy. I got up.
Yeah.
So, and then I've also learned, I learned a lot about people because of this accident too, because I learned that people, and I understand it too, is that people treat you what they're lacking of. So I feel completely alone because now a lot of people are saying that I'm exaggerating my accident. You see the x-rays, you saw me from day one.
Yeah.
So how am I exaggerating unless you're just trying to bring me down? Because now what's your excuse? If I was able to do this, I'm making y'all feel bad just by being in my presence because you're complaining about things that you have full complete control over. But I literally broke every bone in my body, and I'm able to go to the gym, but you don't go to the gym just because you're lazy. And I make you feel bad. And so that's one thing mentally that it really, really, I feel alien. I feel like I'm not supposed to be here because just society, I can't resonate with just the average person because, like this girl, she took me out on a date the other day, and I was talking to her, and just the things that she sees as life, it just doesn't make sense to me. The things that people prioritize and the things that people do but and expect this and then they're so bent in on their feelings and oh, well, I don't feel like doing this, so F this and F that because of my feelings. And I'm like, well, then why are you getting mad at where you are then? Because clearly you have to go through that to overcome it.
Yeah.
And so so I've been having a really hard time the past 2 months just because I'm just learning to accept that my trauma is actually changed my entire perspective of life. So the only thing I can do is just be the best me that I can be and just let everybody else watch.
But it's almost a beautiful revelation into your truth. That's kind of the way I
Oh,
see it.
it's amazing. Like it's to the point now where that's why I want to be a transformational coach, because I have people call me on a regular basis. It's funny too, because I'm lonely because no one wants to hang out with me, but people will call me and talk to me from a distance and ask for advice because they love my perspective. They understand, I have, me going through the things that I went through, I'm able to allow myself to understand why I feel certain ways and what can I do to fix it. A lot of people, even when it comes to relationships, I am horrible with relationships. I'm horrible with relationships because to me, relationships are actually extremely simple. It's not easy, but the concept is very simple, but like with love, a lot of people, they want love to be how they picture it, but love is not that. True love to me is unconditional. That's the only way that you can define it. It's unconditional. When you have a dog or no, like a baby, no matter what you say, if the baby wants to scream and cry, it's going to scream and cry, but you're going to love it. Why? Because you accept it for what it is. But then you fall in love when you get older. And now, okay, cool, I love you, but you can't do this, 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 you can't do this. Now you're changing adding all these conditions in it. And now you hear oh, well, you don't kiss me the way that you used to anymore. Well, because before, these are the ingredients that made me, and you took all these ingredients out and expected it to taste the same. When I first met you, I was hanging out with my friends, and every weekend I was go out and go on the jet skis and stuff like that. But now that I'm with you, I can't do these things. But as you expect me to be the same person? with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No.
so I see things a lot differently. So it is beautiful because now I'm at peace, but it's also extremely painful too, because now all the people that I love, I can't show them. And no matter what I say, until they see it for themselves,
Mhm.
now it's just, oh, I don't want to be around Adam no more, because now he's constantly trying to do this with me and trying to teach me this and trying to teach me this. So it's beautiful, but it's painful. It's dark.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, and this is kind of where I stand with it too, is that the paradigm shift that you made, I mean, that's yours and that's yours alone, man. That journey, this thing called life. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we came in alone and we'll die alone.
Yep.
It sounds kind of dark, but it is the truth.
It's real.
There's no escaping it, right? And
Mhm.
that's because I'm in the same boat as you, except I'm very blessed that like I only have like two friends really. Like outside of my wife and my kids, like honestly, I only got like maybe two, three friends. And the reason why, we're still homies and we still hang out and all that is that we share the same mindset, right?
Yeah.
And like we've had that same mindset since we were kids. So like even like understanding the struggle, like obviously I'm not gonna be able to resonate with certain people when I try to tell them about, hey, you know what, this is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to suffer. But that's the thing is that they don't realize, other people don't realize like that's actually what you need in life. You need resistance, right? You need pressure, you need all these different things. But explaining this to somebody that hasn't felt it is a lot like explaining colors to a blind man.
I've used that plenty of times. Damn, you just took that right. I've literally done that so many times. Like when people talk about racism, I'm like, but you're not going to understand it. Like they don't see the certain things. When you talk about the feeling that you have when it comes to competing to somebody who's never been in a race on the start line, like, and it's just,
Exactly.
and I would say that's like trying to explain the color blue to somebody who's never seen blue. Oh,
Exactly.
dang, I have been using that for years. And I've never heard nobody say it but you until just now. It's pretty
Hey
dope.
man, because it's kind of like same vibe, and I felt that even like as a young kid, where I would explain to people like, yeah, my childhood was rough, but now that I changed my perspective, I kind of just view it like another tool that I can use to my advantage. I'm like, yeah, it was rough, but it developed my mind, right? And even from my homie, like we grew up in a we grew up in this complex, right? And we are all immigrants, refugees, whatever. And the thing was is like they all came kind of from a very similar messed up kind of, not messed up, but it's just rough. It's a rough
Mhm.
neighborhood. Parents were a little bit rougher than your average North American kind of setup, right? So when people talk to us about, oh, my childhood is, and I'm like, oh really, like that's not really a struggle, like that's not
Yeah.
really that rough. And then when you talk to people that are on the same vibe as you, they understand you, right? And you're able to talk to them, and they're just like, no, I know what that feels like. Oh, mentally, yeah, man. So when I go and train with these guys, and that to me is a big revelation too. It's the way that you do things tells me a lot about who you are. Where I would train with certain people, and I'm like, yo, this guy doesn't even want to be here. Why are you here? And just like, oh, it's so hard. I'm like, it's not, man. Like, it's supposed to be hard. That's why we're
Mhm.
here. But then you train with people that are on the same, basically the same vibration as you, and you're just like, no, they get it, and it's just so much easier to really vibe and really get the job done. But you're right. You're gonna clash eventually with people that just want to complain, just want to stay in that negative plane. Like I have no patience for it anymore, so I kind of alienate them myself as well because it just, you know what? This life is too beautiful. We're alive here one time. I'm like, I don't want to complain about your latte
Everything.
frappuccino. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's looking for an excuse to bitch and moan about stuff that I'm like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I tell it to my
That.
sons all the time. It does not matter.
Mhm. And
So
and then it's really crazy because like you said that everybody's so stuck on looking at other people and what other people are doing, and to the point where I tell people regularly, yo, when you wake up, the first thing you should do is listen to something that speaks to you. If you
mhm.
listen to something that speaks to you, that starts off your day talking good about yourself, to the point where now you're getting into the car talking good to yourself on your way to work. You don't care about this person in the driver's seat. You don't care about this person who's in the fast lane. You don't care about any of the other stuff, because you're now focused on yourself. And and
Yeah.
and that's the reason why within the past 2 or 3 months, I told you I'm learning to accept that I am different and my mindset has changed or whatever. It's just we've been so brainwashed to believe that the people who were there since day one have to stay there, and now I'm starting to learn that me pushing you out of my life isn't me saying that you're bad. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
that you're bad. I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm just saying that where I'm trying to go, you can't take me.
Yeah.
So like when we see each other, it's still gonna be, hey, what's going on? Hey, I'll do this and this and that. But I can't do the constant, hey, call me at 1 o'clock in the morning just because you want to talk about your ex-boyfriend that you refuse to leave.
Yeah.
That's taking away from things that I need to do for myself.
Exactly.
That's how it is now.
No, but you know what? You got to protect. I started learning about this thing called sacred selfishness, right? Where they're like, well, you got to make time for yourself. And like for myself, because I have no time for myself until like the school year kind of starts, and I'm like, okay, my wife's at work. I can kind of do my thing at this time. But you have to make sure, not that you insulate yourself from the world, but you do have to make sure that you protect your mind, yourself, your spirit, your vibration. Because when you come across these people, man, they're just gonna try like suck the energy out of you, right? It's like, he's got that good vibe, he's got that positive vibration. I'm gonna go hang out with him. I'm gonna try to bring him down. And they may not even know it on a conscious level. It might be a subconscious thing too, where you start to realize you're like, yo, these people are just always trying to like bring you down, bring you, and I'm like, but why though? And you're never gonna know.
Well, the thing is actually you do kind of know. So what happens is when people do that, they're not doing it intentionally to bring you down. I call them leeches or parasites. My father calls them parasites.
Parasites.
And what happens is it's not that they want to tear you down. It's not that they want to. What they're doing is they see that you're happy. They see that you're at peace. They see that you're healed. They see that everybody wants to be around you and all this other stuff. Unfortunately what they're doing is they're now putting the responsibility of healing them onto you. So they're not
Mm,
trying to pull you down. It's just that's what a parasite does. A parasite has to take everything that it wants from other people. So
exactly.
so it's not like an enemy type thing. It's just is impossible for me to make you happy. I can make you laugh, I can tickle you and everything else, but I can't make you happy. I can put a smile on your face or whatever, but I can't make you happy. It's your responsibility to do that. But people don't do that. People are just like, all right, cool. Well, let me hang out with this person because that person's always laughing. That person's always having a good time. Everybody's always talking great things about him. And if I get next to him, I'm going to become that. No, they
Exactly.
become
Yeah.
you.
Exactly. Yeah. But healing comes from within, man. That's huge. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, dude, I'm happy that you were able to find that within yourself. Because at the end of the day, man, it's like you can only heal yourself. So you made the paradigm shift, and it's like I gotta keep going on my journey. You guys have a good life. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. I'm to that point now because of my accident. I see it as in I died. I died, and I was then possessed. And the person that I'm possessed with now, when he took over my body, he knew my bad habits, he knew my addictions, he knew all my struggles or whatever. But he's like, well, you know what? This is your second time at life.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to do that. You're not going to drink alcohol anymore. You're not going to stay up till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You're not going to do this stuff. This is what you're going to do. You have a second time at life. Now do everything the right way. And
Exactly.
that's where I'm going. I have people tell me all the time, Adam, stop working on your legs and stop doing this and stop doing this, stop doing this. And I said, stop telling me to stop.
Exactly.
If you support me, then support me. Stop trying to protect me from your thoughts because you're not even in my shoes. A lot of people can't even tie my laces, let alone take a step in my shoes.
Exactly. 100%, man. But you mentioned that you want to start doing some transformational coaching and some stuff like at juvenile penitentiaries
Juvenile
and
detention
stuff.
centers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So tell us more about what that looks like and what you got planned in the future, man.
As of now, I don't even know. I don't have a plan because this is a field that I've never done.
Ventured down, yeah.
I've always done things that involved me using my body. I've never done a job that used my mouth, used my intellect, my words. I've never done that. So I don't even know where to begin. Like I said, I was in Iraq and Afghanistan. I found bombs in Afghanistan. I was QRF in Saddam's palace in Iraq. I did the tower climbing. I did construction. I've done protection work. I've done all the other stuff. But for me to now go into an environment where there's a whole bunch of just misguided children and to be able to try to help them understand that, you know, I was raised in the hood. I was raised in 30th and Hillsborough, and I used to have to run home from high school while they were doing shootouts, and I had to do all that other stuff. But there's more to life, and I want to go out there and I want to talk to them, especially when it comes to work ethic, when it comes to sports. You know, a lot of people these days, they're basing everything off of just looks. I want to go to the gym because I want to look good. I want to go to the gym because I want to look good. And before you know it, now you have everybody doing these implants or whatever because they don't want to go to the gym, but they still want to look good. No. And what I want to do is I want to teach them that, no, how about this? Go to the gym because you want to get stronger. Go to the gym because you want to be able to lift up this car if you get into a car accident to take it off your child. Go to the gym so that you can be able to swim this far to be able to save your child from drowning. Go to the gym and do this. But in doing so, working on yourself, you're still going to do what you need to do to look good.
Exactly.
You know, and then at the same time is when you start looking good, you get confidence. When you get confidence, you start to feel good. When you start to feel good, guess what? You start making different choices because now you don't have that fear, and it's all simply just by changing your perspective of just going to the gym, and that can literally change your entire life. Now incorporate that with everything else.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to go to juvenile detention centers, because I feel that of course you see that today's society has gone to hell. It's you know, it's just all about greed, you know. And honestly, this is going to sound really weird in today's environment, but I want to go after young girls. I want to go to young girls and I wanted to teach them to love themselves for who they are as a young girl, because what happens is if you were to teach that girl not to like that Lamborghini, if you were to teach the girl not to like that, all that flashy, the house and stuff like that, and you were to teach them to start loving themselves and going to school or whatever, guess what? Now they're not going to be intrigued by all the guys throwing out all this money. No, if you don't have a degree, I don't want to talk to you. Well, guess what? Once enough women start saying, yo, I want a man who has a job. I want a man who has a plan. I want a man who has this. Now, all the guys sitting here doing all this they can so they can splash money are now doing more to go to working out, going to go to college and doing that. And then that's how you build everything. So I predominantly want to go to young females, just because once they become less insecure with themselves and understand that independence doesn't necessarily mean you have to do everything on your own. You know, just build yourself the best that you can and not allow guys to just win your heart from objects.
Cash
and
money,
you build society.
No,
so
you know it.
I want to do that, and I want to go to hospitals. I want to go to hospitals, and I want to go to people who have had tragic accidents specifically, so I can show them, you know, what I did. You know, maybe something, you know, everybody's mind works differently, so I don't plan on helping everybody. But, you know, some people are fighters. I want to talk to the fighters. I wanted to talk to people who's like, all right, cool. You know, what did the doctor say? You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. All right, cool. How about this? Instead of, you know, I don't want you to do all that, but just move this pen from here to here with your broken hand. That's it. And then start off small. Just move this pen from here to here and then move it back. And before you know it, now you're going to start being able to move this pen and paper or this notepad over here. And before you know it, now you're going to be able to do things that the doctor said you'll never even be able to lift up your hand again. And that's what I want to do.
No, I love
I
that.
just don't know how to do it, but hopefully I can find me a mentor, or maybe ET or David Goggins might want to call me up and show me how it's done. So hopefully.
Well, Goggins would just tell you to cuss at the patient until he gets up. Not joking. Get up, motherfucker.
Oh, David Goggins, that's my boy. When I tell you, before I die, I am going to sit down at a table and have lunch with David Goggins, because his book was the first book I read after my accident. That was the first book I read, and when I say it, he was me, but in a completely different environment. But to see what he had to do to overcome what he did is exactly what radiated to me. Like it made so much sense, to the point where when I make my posts and I do my motivational speaking and stuff like that, I see myself as him on the stage. And David Goggins, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to push people and let people know that, yes, these things are going to hurt. Yes, you're going to have to experience this, but for you to get here, you have to go through that.
Exactly.
And leave it alone. Yeah.
I don't think there was probably a book as inspiring to so many people, because it's just, and like the way he talks about it too, where he's just, Yeah, where they told him like, oh, it's not going to resonate with people. I'm like, no, I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people that's gone through
A whole
anything
lot of people.
difficult. Because everybody that read it's like, no, I can relate to this. And even like you said, you were inspired by it. I'm like, yeah, man, a lot of us feel that. It speaks to the heart.
Yeah. And the thing is, what I like about David Goggins is that it's not that it's speaking to the heart, it's the heart speaking to you. Like it's
Uh,
so real. Like it's not fabricated. So okay, cool. Well, I want to get this many likes. It's not fabricated to this. It's completely real. If you don't like it, good. It's probably because it's true. You
exactly.
know?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's the heart speaking to us, not it.
I
Yeah.
got you. Yeah, I like that. I'm
It's,
stealing that.
you can have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, 100% true. But Adam, before you leave today, man, tell us where can we find you, bro?
All right. Well, you can find me on Facebook. Of course, just look up Adam Rivera and just hope that it's me. It's a great picture with a black and white picture with me and my daughter a little bit above me. I have a blog called Comforting the Zone. I think it's thereferencebook.com. I think. I, it's crazy. Like I said, my mind's all over the place right now. It's either comfortingthezone.com or thereferencebook.com, one of the two. And then if you go on to Instagram, it's the_reference_book. And that's my Instagram. And
Gotcha.
you find all my Twitter and all that other stuff. Cause like I said, I have them, but I don't even really know how to use them all. So you can just
Hey,
find them
no
all
worries.
at the sites.
Hey, I'm gonna add all the links to the description below. And Adam, any closing words from you, brother?
Honestly, the only thing I could say is if you're going through any hard times, if you're going through any kind of struggle, understand that there's plenty of times when you just knew for a fact you were going to die. You just knew for a fact it was going to be over. And here you are listening to this. You overcame it. So no matter what you're going through, look at the beautiful things in life. Look at the people that you love. Tell them that you love them and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's the best way to close it off. So on that note, guys, I hope you have a spectacular day. Adam, absolute blast, but I think I'm gonna have to have you on again because I had too much fun. So just so you know.
Hit me up whenever you need.
All right, guys. On that note, we'll talk to you guys later.